Hey man, say man, you know when you hear this voice, you already know what it is. The big boss dog, can't poke through the door, here to talk this box, front get my soliloquy. Every tough times don't last, good people do, don't have to share. Caught him in the power line, maybe matter. Peep game. 84s on what's when. We clutched up, you know what we're talking about, baby. But before I get to the main entree, the main dish, gotta introduce our other host, future Hall of Famer, future pro coach, Brody on the hustle. Salute to all our soldiers, aka Coach B. Let them know how you doing.
Hey, what it is, folks? Like Capo said, we clutched up, we clutched out. You know what we're here to talk about. I say it all the time. You're about to spend the next 30 minutes to an hour with your two favorite hosts that'll never leave you in the dark with a ghost about any post when it comes to this boxing scene. But before we get into all that good stuff, y'all know what I'm finna tell y'all. Hey, God woke you up, he put breath in your body. Everything else is extra. Get up, do you, take care of you, take care of the fam. Don't let nobody steal you away from that. With all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it back to K-Po. Hey, let's let them know how we flow and continue the show.
Now that we have 40, Gary Antuanne Russell,
Mm,
you know, that's Coach B. That that whole Russell clan, Coach B fool with it.
mm-hmm.
Man, Coach B is he really kind of put me on to the Russells. Like I kind of knew about him, but I never really just watched them. Coach B was like, hey bro, tell me. Um, Gary Antuanne Russell wants to unify with Subriel Matias and Africa. Y'all know who Africa is? That's Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the coach's corner. If y'all don't know what the coach's corner is, this is Coach B's segment where he goes fed, where he really break down the sport of boxing and fights. And y'all stay tuned because we're gonna have a little graphic that's gonna pop up somewhere. I gotta work on it. Coach B working with this stuff, but we'll talk to you about that at the end. Coach, how do you feel about Garanton Russell and the Subaru Matias or against the Richardson Hitchins? Break those fights down. Let me know the outcome of those fights. Let me know who you got victorious, man. Can Garanton Russell get the job done? Or Subaru Matias or Richardson Hitchins too much? Let us know something.
Off rip, I'll start with Matias. Russell gets the job done against him. He's too skilled. He's too quick. He packs a little sting behind his punch. Subriel Matias won't understand what to do because sometimes that relentless coming forward no matter what against a skilled fighter who's skilled in footwork, head movement, and hand talent, it gets you in a lot of trouble. It gets you in a lot of trouble. And no disrespect to Subriel Matias because he is a solid guy at this division. He do what he do when he get in there. His last fight, in my opinion, was very controversial with Puello. I think Puello pulled that fight off, and we all know that's the only loss that Antuanne Russell has is to Puello. So for me to say that, and I go back and look at the Russell and Puello fight, I think that fight was a draw, and I think they should fight again. So with all that being said, I think Antuanne Russell gets the job done with Subriel Matias. Now, I'm a short and cut. I'm a short, dry and cut with that one. Now, with this Hitchison fight, Africa fight, I like this fight a lot. I think this is the fight where it could bring out the absolute best in Gary Antuanne Russell. Coach, what do you mean? What are you saying? You think Richardson Hitchins can beat Gary Antuanne Russell? No. I'm saying styles make fights. And these guys have the perfect stylistic matchup to put in the ring together. What do you mean, coach? Who are you talking about? When we talk about Africa, dude is solid behind his jab. He believes in his jab. I watched him win his last fight solely off the jab. Once his jab got to clicking, the opposition didn't know what to do. He couldn't overcome it. After Africa figured out this dude don't know what to do with my jab, he started putting combinations together. He started moving different. He started stepping different. He started countering different. And then after he did all that, he went straight back to the jab. And we just talked about this not too long ago. It's too many fighters in the sport of boxing who don't use their jab enough and they don't go to the body enough. Africa, he understands that. But when you fight Antuanne Russell, you're gonna have to risk a little bit to get some of those shots off. When you want to deposit shots to the body against Antuanne Russell, that's when he goes in his bag. And he really doesn't rely on his power when you're trying to connect to the body on him. He relies on that speed and slick counter ability, that slick phone booth fighting style that all the Russells carry. They're gonna be quick, they're gonna be decisive, they're gonna be accurate, then they're gonna move and they're gonna change directions and they're gonna look to reset and go right back at it again. So Africa's gonna have to take risks to continue to be able to pop that jab and deposit shots to the body. Now, if he can do it, if he can pop the jab and deposit shots to the body, his chances go up the longer the fight goes on. Do I see a knockout in this fight? Nah, I don't. I see this a beautiful 12-rounder. And the style simply gonna make this fight with Africa and Antuanne Russell. But I'm still put Antuanne Russell victorious in this fight. Split decision and or via majority decision. Why? Because Africa has already put it out in the atmosphere that he's seen the Antuanne Russells. They peeped him before, and the way they operate, the way the Russells operate, they doing their scouting immediately. If they in the stadium with you, whether it was amateurs or pros, they looking at the pros and cons, they seeing what you can and can't do, and they putting together fight plans immediately on how to defeat you. Africa has said it out his own mouth in the interview. They was at the amateurs one time. Antuanne was fighting in another ring. Gary was just chilling, watching Africa. And as soon as the fight was done, Gary went right over to Antuanne and told him, hey, look, this is what we're going to do with Hitchins. Africa said it out his own mouth. So that alone, by him saying that out of his mouth alone, lets me know he has some type of, I'm not going to say fear, but he has some type of worry about Antuanne Russell. So right now, Antuanne Russell already has the edge on Africa. But I think overall skill set, stylistic matchup, I think Antuanne has a little bit more in his arsenal to be able to win the judges over in those, in the final 4 rounds of the match. He gonna pull out something different. He gonna be different, and he gonna be dedicated, and he gonna make Hitchins have to think outside the box, outside of that jab. He gonna make him have to think outside of that jab, and he's not gonna allow him to deposit shots to the body. So at that point, that's when Antuanne Russell will win the judges over and win that fight via split decision and or majority decision.
Man, great fight if they are to happen. Antuanne Russell against Subriel Matias, man, like you said, 2 skills. That fight, Richardson Hitchins versus Antuanne Russell, that fight right there, I think Richardson Hitchins outclasses Antuanne Russell. I mean, he got high boxing IQ, man. Richardson Hitchins is getting better and better to me each time he fights. He don't have an exciting fighting style, but it's exciting to fight fans because you know what he's doing. The casual fan won't know, but you like, man, like you mentioned, coach, man, he keep using that jab. He get back on his jab. He get tired, jab. He back on the jab. He's slipping, jab. He put combination punches. He's going to the body. Like he checking the boxes, right? Stuff that fighters need to do in a fight, he checks the boxes. You know what I mean? Great fundamentals. And, he's a great boxer. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Antuanne Russell can't win that fight. I just think that, stylistically, Richardson Hitchins could pose an issue because of his high boxing IQ. He came up under the tutelage of, Devontae, Adrian Broner, even Floyd. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you've seen the interview. Floyd even told him to his face, hey man, you out of this gym, you the best boxer in this gym. And they had Tank in there, they had Devin in there that day, they had Adrian Broner. He said Richardson Hitchins is the best fighter in that gym. Nah, he may have been blowing smoke up his behind. I don't know. But for Floyd to say that, you know what I mean, they must, that shows his boxing ability. But the kid is getting better and better each fight. So, I got Richardson Hitchins unanimous decision. I don't see a knockout either, coach, on this Antuanne Russell. But I think if they do fight, I think they fight more than once. I think they fight maybe like 2 times. You know what I mean? I think that fight is a fight that, you know, again, Antoine gonna want that defense. He gonna want that because he's gonna be like, nah, you're not that. And I can see him really wanting that opportunity. Now, will Richard Hitchins give him the opportunity? I believe so because he's from New York. He cocky. He talking. And I believe that if Antuanne Russell talk enough trash, he gonna give him that opportunity again. So, um, I really like the fact that these young fighters, are they not the most popular, but they doing stuff in the right manner in that ring, and that's what I respect.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Coach always talk about pure boxing. We talk about the famous fighters because that's what y'all like to hear, but we really like to pay attention to the guys that's not being really widespread in the media like this. Like Richard Hitchens, people know who he is, but you heard Eddie Hearn say, "Man, I wasted a lot of money on his fight because he not really selling like that." You see Antuanne Russell, he's still fighting on undercard. But these guys' fundamentals is through the roof. And they dangerous fighters. So, especially Subriel Matias too. But Subriel Matias is a come for a guy, he's just relentless. If you can get past that, use your jab, you can be able to break down Subriel Matias. Coach, you got anything else?
Nah, that'll be it for me. And I just want to throw this out there real quick. For all y'all talking about, while we on the subject of talking about fighters that fly under the radar, for those of y'all who keep talking about and commenting on certain things, saying we don't even know who a Lamont Roach is, but he draw with Tank. This is another fighter who flies under the radar. He's skilled, he's talented, he knows boxing. He's from an area that's known for boxing. So I don't want to hear no more about this old Tank washed, Tank this. He had a draw matchup with Lamont Roach. No, Lamont Roach know what he's doing when he get in there. But outside of that, I ain't got nothing else to say, Capo.
All right, y'all. We talked about boots. We done talked about everything boxing on this channel. We ain't running from no smoke. We discussing any and everything. Continue to support us. Continue to help our channel grow. We've grown, I think, 100 subscribers, Coach, since we last recorded.
Yep.
So we're growing. And we appreciate y'all for really tuning into our channel. But we only gonna continue to get better. So if you got any positive, constructive criticism, leave in the comment section. If you start talking reckless, you're gonna get body bag and toe tag and check. Maybe by me, maybe by Coach. You never know. You know what I mean? But continue to support us on this journey. This is Genesis. This is the beginning. We're gonna continue to grind, continue to grow, and continue to evolve. And that's what it's about. We clutched up, we clutched up. You know what we're talking about. I'm Boss, it's Coach. We're out of here.
Salute.